Well, hello everyone, David here, and together with Ben for this session. Can everyone give me a wave who can hear me? Awesome stuff. Thanks so much for your time this evening. Welcome one and all, and thank you for being involved in this webinar as we gear up an exciting return to basketball. To answer any questions during this session, please use the chat facility that you should find on your screen in the Zoom control panel. Online, to answer your questions are Kevin and Matt from our digital support team here at BV. Please be aware that your questions can be viewed by all, so just be careful what you... Also, please keep your microphone muted for this session. I think we're controlling that anyway. We are recording this webinar and we will make the recording available in the coming days. We anticipate that this webinar will last for approximately an hour. So make yourself comfortable and let's get going. In this session, summary on why Basketball Victoria implemented the individual registration project that in turn has led to the development and rollout of the new registration and competition platform, PlayHQ. We aim to take tasks that are undertaken by association administrators in order to open registration for a new competition season, provide a demonstration of the registration process, and show you how you can access team and participant. We are covering competition management in a subsequent webinar. A few years ago, Basketball Victoria decided to head in a different direction with online registration and competition management, with the goal being that participants and administrators would have a far better experience. We wanted a system that was one that was free from online ads and one that better supported our basketball processes. As sport administrators, we need to be able to access accurate participation data so that we can basketball participation, identify trends, and engage in more meaningful conversations with government agencies and other funding providers. Today, we must also ensure that we meet our legal obligations around data collection, storage, and use. The National Privacy Principles detail that individuals supply and own their own data and are to be provided with the tools to self-manage their own experience wherever possible. Going forward, administrators will be able to roll over participants from one season to the next or register a participant season without their knowledge. Self-registration has allowed for the realignment of BV's participant fees across the state. We are now able to implement a more equitable, transparent and fairer participant fee model. Gone are the previous fees charged by Basketball Victoria. No more season-based fees, no more primary and secondary registration products, no more paying a fee and credited with a shortened period of cover. The new BV individual participant licence lasts for a minimum period of 365 days and allows the participant to play basketball anywhere across the state in competitions and operations conducted by affiliated associations. The PlayHQ system monitors and enforces payment only when a participant licence falls due. Association and club administrators do not need to do anything to collect payment from participants or ensure that participants' licence. The PlayHQ system does all the checking and enforcement so that all participants listed in a competition are fully covered for the entire duration of that season. The Basketball Victoria website contains detailed information, examples and resources that you might find helpful both for you and your participants. Basketball Victoria has partnered with Melbourne-based technology experts PlayHQ. Together we have developed the core component of the new registration and competition platform with many enhancements to come. We began onboarding associations back in the last summer season, and following successful use, we now have 360 basketball clubs using the system. Remaining associations and clubs are now being onboarded in time for a return to play. Recently announced is that the AFL is set to also use PlayHQ to support its own grassroots participation across the nation. This is very exciting for Victorian basketball, as the development resources that this brings ensures continued rapid development of the future. So with those introductions done, are there any questions, Ben?
No, all good, all clear, ready to go.
Awesome, no worries. So let's move on to the demonstration. Ben and I will be using a test environment to take you through. You may notice one or two slight changes between our view and your own view when you log in. Firstly, you must be an authorised administrator of your association in order to gain access. How to control who has access to your association in a minute. So to access I'm going to log in using my PlayHQ account details and get access to the test environment. We have set up a test association for this webinar. The title of that association is up in the top corner. When you log into your own association's admin portal, you should see your association. Let's look firstly at the basic setup tasks that allow you to control who has admin portal, as well as control of the details that are made visible to the public. You can control the administrators who have access via the admins section of the My Organisation. If no administrator as yet has access, please raise a support request with us and we will work to get you going. A word of warning here, the administrators have access to sensitive data, so only enable access to those who require it. Administrators to have access to the admin portal, for the invited users tab, use the plus invite new admin link to invite a new administrator. When inviting a new administrator, not to use shared email accounts and to be very careful in position specific association email accounts, as administrators typically move on over time to new roles or greener pasture. The threat that the outgoing administrator could continue to have access until the password to the account they have used, new administrator filling the role. The overview section allows you to update details that are displayed on your PlayHQ competition and registration pages. Banking details, allowing you to take online payments through the system. Here you can also set and control discount vouchers, something Ben will show you shortly. You should see your organisation appearing just under the title here. If not, please be in contact and we will work with you to get that to. You can enter your organisation website address here, or the address of your Facebook site or other social media site if you prefer. What you enter here will create a link to HQ sites. If your association has its own participant terms and conditions, enter a link to those terms and conditions here, and your T's and C's to participants as they register. The contacts submenu gives you the opportunity to add primary contact details of your association. Details entered here will show in all of your organisation PlayHQ web pages. Only the email address is compulsory. These are optional. On the payment section, you'll notice it will show either confirmation that your banking details and supporting documents have been provided. It will show an online form allowing you to submit these details. Once received and processed by PlayHQ, the online payment gateway provider undertakes its own checks and balances, and once all is accepted, you will receive word that you can begin taking online payments through PlayHQ. Left-hand menu, you have access to venues, and you can see all venues and courts that we've loaded into the system and which we understand are being used for basketball activities across the state. Where the contact details of each venue are provided and key attributes of each of the courts are provided also. If you believe a venue or court is not listed or details are incorrect, please be in contact with us. Before I go on, Ben, have there been any questions so far?
Yeah, no questions just yet. The internet, I'm not sure it's just my end, but is a little bit glitchy at the moment, probably because of the time of night. Did you want to try and switch internet to something different, or maybe your phone? If it took 30 seconds, I can keep talking if you want for a little bit. It's just a little bit tough to hear at the moment.
Right, I can change that and then try and log back in.
Do you want me to keep going with the competitions and seasons to give you a second, or? So there we go.
Yeah, apologies, guys. Bit of a technical glitch at the moment, but we'll get that sorted in a sec.
Hey, is that better? I'm coming
That sounds
in
a
through
lot better,
my
but
phone
let's see
now.
if we go. Yes.
Well, that will be interesting. I'll be on the phone to Telstra tomorrow, hey? I'm now coming through my mobile phone, believe it or not. So let's see how we go. Okay, I got the... Sorry about that, everybody. We'll try and head around a better recording for you, and apologies for that. All right, going to move on to competition management and show you the tasks that are required to set up in order so that you can open registrations for a new season. This is where the majority of administration typically takes place. You will only rarely need to create a new competition. You can see the Add New Competition button up the top. In PlayHQ, a competition contains one or more seasons, with each season containing one or more grades of competition. In the example presented here, we have a junior competition, junior domestic competition, that is visible to the public and which has 3 seasons contained within it. There's also a senior domestic competition, which is currently hidden from the public and only has 1 season. Participants either register direct to a team in a competition season or register just to a season and are then manually allocated into a team by an administrator. Or a team organiser, teams are similar. Each season a team is either created by an administrator or a team organiser self-registers the team and nominates the grade of competition they would like to enter. And an association can also invite clubs to field teams and participants into a competition season that is managed by the association. How you configure a competition, the seasons and grades you offer, and the process of registration you enable are fully controllable by you. You have various factors to consider at this point to help you to decide if you set up just one competition or multiple competitions. You need to consider some of these things in determining whether to set up only one or multiple competitions. The size of your association, Generally, larger associations set up 2 or more competitions. If an administrator has responsibility for just one group of grades, for example, responsibility just for the junior grades as opposed to senior grades. If you have a club structure for team and participant entry to some grades but not others. Also, if the season start and end dates for junior and senior competitions, for example, are significantly different. If you have a different pricing structure for participant registration, different grade and game configuration defaults, or different processes to control player transfers and clearances. In most cases, it will be better to split competitions into junior and senior domestic competitions, as this provides greater flexibility for you to control the above matters. If you do set up multiple competitions, be aware that participants are required to self-register to each season. Luckily, this is a quick and simple task to undertake. If you need a hand to determine what is best, please be in contact. So to add a new competition, you simply click the Add Competition link. As we already have 2 example competitions set up, I will access the Junior Competitions Settings area, which shows the same detail requested when setting up a new competition. I do this by clicking the Settings tab and then the General sub-tab. On the opening screen, you select the type of competition that relates to the setup of this new competition. Generally, that's going to be a domestic style of play, but you do shortly have access to create a tournament competition if you so wish. You supply the competition with a name. Here it's Junior Domestic. And you can toggle on whether the public can see this competition via the public PlayHQ pages or not. In the second step of setting up a competition, you can set what are known as grade default settings. Grade settings set here are used in the allocation of games, to format printed score sheets, to configure each game in electronic scoring, and are also used to assist in the allocation of games. Each new grade created in a season will inherit these settings. However, you can adjust these settings at an individual grade at a later date if you wish. These are the three seasons contained in this example of junior domestic competition. 2 of these seasons have been marked as completed and are now hidden from public view. We have 1 season that's visible called the Spring 2020 season, and you can see the season start and end dates, and also that it has 3 grades configured. Clicking into this particular season and going to the settings area allows you to set and confirm the season start date and end date. The start and end dates you set here are extremely important. The start date is the first possible date that any game could be played in any grade of competition in this season, and the end date is the last date that any game could be played, including finals. The season start date and end dates are very important to enter correctly before participant registration opens, as the PlayHQ system uses these dates to determine whether to charge a player the Basketball Victoria participant licence or not, and in some circumstances, in setting the licence end date at the time the player registers to the season. On this general tab, you can also add season exception dates here. These dates entered can then be applied across all grades of competition in the season. For instance, enter the dates of any known holidays or breaks in play that are to occur in all grades across the season. Select also the venues that will be in use for the season. by starting to type the venue's name and adding that venue. And you can also toggle on and off the visibility of the season. Generally speaking, set the season to be visible so that members of the public can see that you plan to offer this particular season at some point in the future. So I've just saved that change that I made. Having created a new season now allows you to create the grades of the competition. Here we have 3 grades that have been pre-configured, and you can see also that we have an orange Add a Grade button. Let's add one extra grade of competition to briefly show this process. So you set the relative details of the grade. And set whether the grade can be visible or not by the public. I'll leave this hidden at this point in time. Go to the next step. Here are the grade settings that were set as a default for the competition. You can adjust any of these down at the grade level if this grade differs from your defaults. Once you've set those, just go Add Grade. That creates the new grade in the list here. At this point, Ben, are there any other questions that we should discuss, or any questions that we should discuss?
Yeah, a couple of questions about the hide or visible settings, which I'll sort of just touch on because when the questions come through. So there isn't really much of a reason you might choose to hide a competition, which is the top level. Like Kev said, you might choose to hide it if you no longer run it, or you might choose to hide it if it might be a new type of competition which you don't want to advertise yet. The way that so you can make pictures and whatnot within a competition, but if you hide it at the competition level, you won't be able to see on the public-facing website any of the things that are below that. So you can use that. You can go and make fixtures and grades and make them more visible. But if the season or the competition hidden, they won't be able to see that on the public-facing website. So when you go make your fixtures, generally we'd probably suggest is to make all the grades as visible, but hide the season, which saves you going through each grade and fixing it up. Is probably the best way to explain it. There was one more question. Let's have a look here. If you have an exception date, but they have juniors and seniors in the same setup, is there a way to override it if seniors play maybe like school instance? Dave, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, so the season exception dates, if you do split up your juniors and seniors into separate competitions, that scenario is immediately taken care of because you'll set up different exception dates for your senior competition as opposed to your junior competition. The other aspect is once you come to fixture a particular grade, you can easily deactivate one of the exception dates that you've set and only apply the other one. And that's a simple sort of checkbox that you do that shouldn't take too much time. The other thing that I'd say is on this grades listing page, you can see each of these grades are currently hidden. To unhide them and to make them visible to the public is a very easy process. All you need to do is, in this case, click on the hidden little icon there. A little window appears. Click the visibility and go confirm. And now, as soon as you've done that, that grade is now visible to the public. So if you do choose to leave your competition and your new season visible, you can easily toggle grades on once fixtures have been created. All right, so at this time, Ben, it's over to you. So I'll stop sharing my screen and you can take over.
Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to go over merchandise first up. There's a few things we're going to touch on leading into the registration forms. So merchandise is available in the left-hand menu where you can select products. So this is where you go to sell something that you want to apply to our registration form. It could be a physical product, or you might choose to do it another way. But at the moment, we're just going to go in and use a Spalding basketball as an example. For this one here, earlier on, I put the name. When I made the product, I changed the description and I made the product active. So this means it will appear on the registrant's form. If it's marked as inactive, it obviously won't appear. And down the bottom, there's two options to either do a single product type or variations. I've done a variation here because I want to offer a size 6 and a size 7, but you might choose to do a single variation. For instance, if you're selling maybe also a hat that fits everyone, for instance. You can also choose to untoggle one of these. Let's say you sell out of size 6 basketballs. You can untoggle that. So only the size 7 will appear on the form. And of course, you can add variations or change the order of these if you wish. I'm going to cancel this because I haven't made any changes. So I'll just go out of this. And then next up, we're going to go into vouchers. So we're going to add a voucher, which we can do in the My Organization overview section. So in the sub menu up the top, we have the voucher section, and we can create a voucher, which we'll do now. There's multiple ways you can go about using this, but I'm going to use an example of a discount for a coach's child. So I'm going to say, it's a $60 discount for them when they register their child. Down here, you can choose to have it as one use. If you have it as one use, it'll expire after the person has used it once. This would probably commonly be used if you had to organise like a payment plan between one person specifically. If they had a certain need or a certain amount, you would go into discount. But you might also choose, you might say, I've got 10 coaches and I'm going to give the same code out to these 10 coaches and I want it to be applied at checkout. So I'll turn this on. And then what will happen is it will come up on this screen here. I can use this code, I'll copy it so I can use it later. It shows $60 and it shows 0 of 10 uses. So what will happen is if it won't allow any more uses than 10. So after the 10th use, it doesn't be the same person, can be different people. It will no longer be able to be applied at the checkout. As you can see down here in the test vouchers, these ones are being used once. But also it shows the active or inactive status depending on what you change it to be. Awesome. So I'll copy that, so I've got it later. Next up, we're heading into the competition management side of things. We're going to go into competition management, junior domestic season, and the spring season, which Dave was in before. We're now going to the registration side of things, which is the focus of today. And then from there, we're in the association section. We're going to scroll down to the bottom and we're going to touch on family member discounts. Now, from here, I'm going to go to manage. And at the moment, I've got this as turned off. So family member discount applies to multiple player registrations via the same PlayHQ account in the same competition season. For instance, a parent registering their children to participate in a domestic season for spring 2020, they could register one today, and then on another day they could register a second one, and they would get the discounted rate for the second one. So it doesn't have to be just at the same time, but it needs to be the same competition season on the same PlayHQ account. So the first registering family member is charged full price. Second, and any subsequent family members will pay the discounted rate. In this case, it will be 10%. So I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to go save, and that will appear down the bottom. Next up, I'm going to set up custom fields. I'm going to go to the sub menu here under registration. And as you can see here, I already have two custom fields already set up. I'm going to go into each one and show you what's entailed. But of course, you can add a new one anytime by clicking here for a participant form or a team form. I'm going to go into this one here and show you how this one is set up. What's your preferred training day? Drop-down list is the one I've selected, so you can choose to do a text field or a drop-down list. Now this won't let me change it because I actually have already done a registration with this one, so it doesn't let you change it after you've done that first registration. You would need to either change it or create a new one and turn this one off or something different like that. But what is your preferred training day? I've got the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here, and I've got it only selected for player registration forms. I can choose to have it all three or just one, but obviously for this one, it's more directed at players. What is your preferred training day? Just using it for players. And then on the right-hand side here, I can choose what forms I want to apply it to. So I'm going to apply it to the participant season, which we'll explain in a moment, is more so, I guess, for when players register direct to the association. I've also applied it for participant to team, which is when teams would register to the association and players then register to those teams, more common in larger associations. And then if I want to force or push this to be down in all my club forms, if I have clubs, this will automatically appear in those club forms if you tick that box. Then over on this left-hand side, you can choose to make it visible and editable by club admins in the participant profiles if you want. If you don't want them to see it and don't want them to edit it, you can go and uncheck that, and that's how that will work. I'm going to go and save this here. Second part to this is you can set up a custom field which participants don't actually see if you want. And how that works is I've got one set up here. If you want to have a custom field whereby you can only see it and it's a field that you can apply to a participant's profile that only you can see, you might choose to do this when you have a Working with Children Check card cited. If you want to make sure you've cited all the coaches' Working with Children Check cards, I can go down and select I want to apply to coaches' forms only, and I'm not actually going to apply to any of these forms, and I'm not showing it on clubs either. I only want me to be able to see it because I'm the one who checks it. That will allow you to have a custom field on a participant's profile, but they can't see that. You can see it. You can use it to put anything in there, any field you might want to collect from your end only. You do the same thing from the team side of things. Before we continue, Dave, was there any questions at this point in time or anything I've missed?
Not at this time, Ben. So you're coming across loud and clear, at least for me. So continue on.
Great. Alrighty, we're now heading into the registration form side of things where we can now apply the merchandise, custom fields, and voucher codes to. I'm going to go into the association section first. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to demonstrate it in the participant season, and I will go through this at a reasonable pace, but I'll definitely do it, I guess essentially do it twice. But participant season is for typically smaller associations where players are registered direct to the association, not to a team, not to a club. So I'm going to set this up, participant season. I'm going to set up these dates, which are the dates where the form will be available to the public to register. Between those times, you can change those anytime if you wish. Here, it will show the pre-coded BV and your license fee in here with the junior and senior rates. That's already pre-coded in there, so you don't need to incorporate that in your fees. That's already applied and will come on registration forms automatically if needed. I'm going to set a $100 player fee for this one because that's what I'm going to charge from players registered to my association. I can also choose to set advanced registration fees through here. The way this works is I can say, as of this date, maybe the 1st of May, if you fall between 0 and 10 years old of any gender, we're actually going to give you a discounted rate because we're going to say it's a under 10 fee. So what that actually does, that will disregard the $100 fee if you fall between these 0 and 10 ages of any gender as of this date. So as of 1st of May 2020, if you fall between this criteria, it won't charge you this, it will charge you the $80 instead. I'm going to add this to the form there. You can add multiple if you wish. The custom field we already set up earlier, and we chose which forms we want to apply it to. So we don't need to go into that at the moment. We can add products to this registration form by going, we made that sporting basketball earlier. So I'm going to apply that to my form, which will appear as an option for players and coaches and team managers to purchase if they wish. Down here, I can put text on the form if I wish to give more of a description when players go to register, and I can apply my T's and C's to this form. I'm now going to make it visible so it shows on my association's public facing site. So I'm going to go visible here. I'm going to go save that. You can see now it's open between these days with this link, which you can copy directly, and it's visible on the public facing association landing page. I'm going to go into this association now and test this out. So that form I just created is showing here already. You can use that link to incorporate it into, you can use this link, or you can use the link that was on the registration page to incorporate it into any of your websites if you wish to have a direct link to this form, for instance, or put it in an email to teams or players, stuff like that. I'm going to go through and make a test account. So this is my test account. It's got heaps of tests in here, but I'm going to make a new family member or dependent. I'm going to go through and register a player. I'm going to go and make a new one. So the first time people register, it is, whoops, it's always fun to spell when you're on camera. So first time they register, it is going to be asking for that quite a few details, but every other time they go to register, these details are already pre-filled out. So you're going to find that a registration process, a second or any time after, will be pretty quick and easy. It's just a couple of fields which are in here, which are mandatory, including my custom field, which I have here, which I need to fill out. I can select parent guardian details down here. You'll notice that I can't actually change this parent guardian detail here because that's already pre-coded, because that's the account holder, because it's a family account and this person's under the age of, so this person is a dependent under this account, but I can change the address that they live at, for instance. I'm gonna just put some, because the test database, there's not heaps of validation around it, which is handy if I need to do it quick. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go through now and save and continue. Awesome. Now you can see that because I'm a junior player, the $25 is showing, and it will show them what the fee is all about to the participant. And it shows because I fell between that date range of 0 to 10 of any gender. It's only charged me $80, which is good. That's how it's supposed to work. I'm going through, click T's and C's, which they can view there. Continue. And now it gives the option to purchase a spalding basketball if I want, or I can skip. I'm going to purchase size 6, and then I'm going to continue. Awesome. So now I'm through and going to enter my real bank account details. Oh, and I was going to use it. Okay, but what I'll actually do before I move forward is I have a discount voucher because I coach and my child gets a discount, so I can apply that here. When I go to apply it, it'll then automatically take the $60 amount off your association fee. So it'll take off the registration fees of the organisation that you are that it came from. So it won't apply to the BV fee, and it won't apply to any club fees. Only the discount code created at each specific level will work on that fee. I'm going to go through here, and then I'll go through and continue the registration. Oh, I believe that's because I put the discount code in afterwards. My mistake. Awesome. I'm going to go through now and confirm my purchase. Great. So it now says I've successfully registered Johnny, and I can go to my profile and I can see all of Johnny's details. I can edit them as a account holder. I can edit all these things here. I can see any accreditations. Sorry, this is actually for the account holder. I'll go down to Johnny Smith. Where is he? Here we go, at the top. So Johnny Smith. And then through here, I can edit any of Johnny's details. I can see his registration history, but I can also see when my BV annual license will expire. So I'm going to do that as an account holder if I wish to do so. And then I can then jump back in and see that this participant has come through on the participant section of the database. Before I go on to the team to season section, is there any questions, Dave?
Not specifically. There's been a question around what if parents are opposed to entering credit card details online and want to pay in cash. The system mandates credit card payments through the system, but you can also use a debit card, a valid Visa or MasterCard. So in the case that a parent doesn't want to put in their credit card details, they could choose to preload a debit card that's available commercially from Australia Post, for instance, and then use that to enter their payment details. Another way of doing it is to allow them a discount voucher that wipes the fee from what they need to pay. However, if BV's fee is due for payment, we only allow discount vouchers to be applied under very sort of limited circumstances. For instance, a severe financial strain of that particular person. So the typical one nowadays is to encourage a parent to go to somewhere like Australia Post and or their bank and preload a debit card. And in fact, the majority of bank accounts now come with a debit card attached to them too.
Right.
Yeah, continue on, Ben.
Awesome. Cool. So we're gonna so we did the first one, participant to season, which is when players are registered direct to the association. We're gonna just quickly go over team to season form and the player to team form. I am gonna speed through this a little bit because it's essentially the same process. So you're still gonna have registration period for the form. I'm not going to charge a team registration fee for this one. Because this is a team registration form, it's asking me what grades I want to offer. So I'm going to select all these grades I want to offer on this form. I don't want to apply any products. I want to make it quick and easy because I'm going to apply products to the player forms. I can again put any information in here that I want, and I can apply my terms and conditions for my association there as well. And I can make it visible on the public facing site. Because this type of form typically has players then registered to the team, which is common in a lot of larger associations, I can go in and proceed and make my participant to team form, which is exactly the same as the participant to season as we went through earlier, except this is to the actual team. I'm going to say this is $100 as well, but I'm going to say it's actually not going to have any advanced fees just for this one. I'll go through and apply my Spalding basketball, and I can go through and put the T's, C's in there. Awesome. So now that I've done that, I've got my team to season form, which is showing here, and it'll also appear on the public facing site, which is here. So register my team form is listed here. and register a player, coach, team manager. If you have a junior and senior competition, you might tend to have maybe the junior one as a certain type of form and the senior competition having maybe register the team, because they might register in different ways. But it's up to you how to decide you want to use that. Moving down, the participant team section or form doesn't have a registration link. This is because each team has an individual registration link, which we'll come back to shortly. So there's no overarching link. So just imagine that the team registration link is essentially replacing the team codes, and it simplifies the process. Instead of giving someone a link and a code, you just give them a link and it'll go straight to their team. I'm going to go through and register a team. This should be a fairly quick process because I am going through and not having to pay any fees. I'm going to register an existing team, Ben White test team. Cool. Go through and continue. No fees payable. So it's nice and quick. I can go through and submit my registration. Then it gives me the option to go and register players to this Ben White test team. So I can go through and register myself, or I can give this link to other people. I also get this link via email, so you can easily pass it on to other people if you wish. What I'll do now is show that this team now will appear in the team section, and because I selected a grade, it'll appear with the grade and the registration date, which was shown here. When a participant to a team registration form is created, like we did just before, they'll be given a, like I said, a unique link, which is visible in the the team profile. You can copy this to give on to teams, but like I said, they would have received it in an email on confirmation. But that's how that works in terms of the registrations. I'm going to go through and just quickly do a quick test registering this player to the association, so to the team. So now you can see that registered to the Ben White test team as a player, coach, team manager. I can speed through this. I'm going to register myself, and I'm going to register myself as a player. And because I've filled these details out before, I can skip through most of this stuff apart from any new custom fields you might have put in there. I'll go through save and continue. Awesome. Because I'm the second person in this family to register, I get this 10% discount, which works out to be $10. I can go through here and then I don't want to put any products, and then go through and I'll put the real credit card details in there. With any of these discount vouchers or discounts, that has a nice green color to make it feel nice and happy. So confirm purchase, and then done, and I'm all good. I'm registered to the association, so to this team under this association, and I can now see if I go back into this section here. I'll go back into. I'm now registered in this team, which I can then manipulate and I can see different things like that. I can edit player numbers and whatnot. I sort of skipped ahead a part of it. I'm going to skip back just to make sure we've covered everything. We haven't done the club stuff yet, which is what we're after. So I'm going into registration, the same section I was in before, but I'm now going to the club sub menu. So clubs are treated in PlayHQ as an independent organisation connected only to a competition season through an invite process initiated by the association administrator. Once your invite is accepted by the club administrator, the association reviews the teams and participants which are registered to their competition season. I'm going to quickly show this now. I'm going to set this form up. I'm going to invite clubs that I want to come to my association. And then from there, I can also invite clubs that were from my previous seasons, which makes it a little bit easier. Same thing, I want to set a period where I want to allow these clubs to allocate teams to grades for the season. Down the page, I can see that the BV angle license is already pre-coded in there. If I want to charge any association fees, I can do this through here. You can remember this is players registering to a club. So I'm going to put $10 fee for this one because I know clubs take the fees and they also sort out stuff on their end. I'm going to apply my T's and C's to this form, and that's it. So now these invites will be sent to those clubs, and from there they can go and create registration forms which have your specific details which you just defined in that form. I'm going to jump back to the participants section as we cover off the last few things now. Right now you can see Ben White, who was registered to the Ben White test team because he used a participant to team form, whereas Johnny Smith used a participant to season form. So he goes unallocated, which we can allocate this person to a team shortly. I'm going to jump into Ben White's profile and go in and select, choose to deregister him for this season. You'd see here, this player actually has played in past seasons with their registration history. So you can set it here, but I want to go and deregister him from this current season, which was today's registration. So I want to actually cancel this one because they pulled out again. So I'm going to, before I go on, you can see you can edit those custom fields from here if you wish, but I'm going through and cancel this registration. I can see, I'll say this player's refund due to COVID-19. Sure, that's relatable right now. So we can go through and refund this. So to go and cancel this registration, you need to process the refund outside of this, but I can put this note on the system. And then I can see that this player was cancelled due to COVID-19. And then when I go back to and view my, I'll go back to the actual participants list. I can see he's not appearing in this. And I can also filter it to actually see the ones that are cancelled. Before I've got a couple of things. I'm assigning teams to go and the view teams to go in the reporting function. Before I go into that, Dave, is there any questions so far relating to the registration side of things?
There's just been sort of one series of questions, I guess, based around payment via cash or by a different means.
Yeah.
Kevin's answered those spot on. Thanks, Kev, for doing that. And his answer sort of just adds to what I said previously and what you've said too, Ben, about some of the uses that can discount vouchers can be used for. So if anybody's interested in that, just have a read through the chat there and you can go on, Ben. Awesome.
A couple more things to go, and just to make sure everyone's sort of aware, because like you know, there's been new features, which is fantastic. Obviously, the cancel registrations is the latest one, which is great. I'm going to jump back into the team here. Like I said, you can view the link here. You can send it to other people. I can allocate players to teams here if I want. I'm going to allocate this player. You allocate coaches, team managers, assistant coaches. If they had registered directly to this team, that would automatically be in here straight away. From there, I can also print a team list report, which will give me details of the Ben White test team, all the players and any team staff that have registered, including their team registration link, which you can you might choose to forward them to coaches or team managers or clubs if you wish to do something like that. But that's available there. From there, what we will now do is assign teams to a grade. So Dave created some teams, I think prior to this. You might choose to create teams on the administration side of things if you coordinate teams yourselves. So I can allocate teams via the grade section, where I can go into allocate a team in a specific grade by going to the plus symbol. and go and allocate team. I'm going to go allocate these two other teams to that grade. I'll allocate this team there. As soon as I allocate 2 or more teams, you'll see the generate fixture button, which I will cover in the next webinar. But that's there for me, and I've allocated teams to a grade, so it takes me up until the fixturing process. Registration, I guess reporting around registrations is what I will sort of do as one of the last things. So reports, a lot of these things cover, I guess, team entries, participants, whatnot. These, when generated, will go through to the generated reports section. But what a new report section, which most probably wouldn't have seen before, is the orders section in the submenu up here, is where the products will go to, or the product orders will go to, and it has a number of details around, I guess, making sure that you can fulfill those orders and tick them off and reconcile those orders. Last thing we're going to do is view the support portal. So you can do that via the PlayHQ public facing website. You can go down the bottom. I'm going to go to playhq.com. And this is viewable at any of your fixture registration pages. But I'm going to go down to support. And I can now go and view articles by searching through them or typing a text field in. I'm going to cancel, pop that in because I want to see, I want to see cancelling a participant's registration, which is a new process. So it gives me step-by-step instructions in this section here. And they've updated a lot of these lately, which is fantastic. And it'll give you really in-depth details. So I always suggest going to this section first before sort of reaching out, because a lot of these articles can probably explain it better than we can. So it's a great resource to have. But as always, there is the option to start a conversation and have these fields there, which you can fill out, which will then come directly to us. So the 4 of us at BV, and is also goes to PlayHQ, so we can get support for you ASAP, rather than emailing us directly, because if you email one of us individually, we might not get it. But if all 4 of the team are monitoring this inbox, we can try and get back to you ASAP. Before we finish up, was there any questions, Dave, or anything that I missed?
There's just one additional question that's been asked about adding fields to reports. When you go and access the pre-configured reports, you'll notice that they're very extensive in the data that's extracted into that report, including custom fields. So as you add custom fields and configure those, each report that's applicable will show those custom fields into that standard report. And from there, you can grab the spreadsheet into something like Excel and filter from there.
Fantastic. Yes, definitely. Like I said, there's lots of new things coming. It's a really exciting time. I know they're working on a few things at the moment, which will hopefully drop in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, unless there's anything else that I've forgotten or David come up with, that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks heaps, Ben. Thanks also to Kevin and Matt for assisting us in this session. Hopefully that's been sort of a good refresher or introduction. In the second webinar that we've got going for association administrators, Kevin and I will be covering off competition management and those aspects around fixturing and getting yourselves ready for a possible restart to competition play. So enjoy your day and take care.